Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kia to Scoops. I'm Cooper, the sole admin of AFL information, trade rumours, and results, and got a big show for lined up for you guys and girls today. May not see the excitement in me at the moment for a multitude of reasons. Unfortunately, the season for the Saints is over after the 24-point loss of the Giants in the elimination final. Just want to say that little clip you've seen before the game, my match day vlog for the grand final, for the elimination final. I wish grand final for the elimination final. Is going to be pinned down in the comment section down below. So go check it out. If it's not pinned for some reason, go check the most recent videos. Go check out that match day vlog. It was awesome to film. A lot of content, a lot longer video than normal. So go and check it out. Would greatly appreciate it. Just wish we won. Would have made the vlog even more sweeter. And also now with the AFLW show tomorrow night at 7 p.m, I did film the Saints game, Essendon v St Kilda in the AFLW. That is also pinned down below and in the most recent videos on the channel. So please go check it out. Greatly appreciate it. Good to meet some of the Essendon girls. I got some great footage as well. So I'll discuss that more on the podcast, on the women's show, the AFLW show tomorrow night at 7 p.m. But go check it out down below or check the most recent videos. We'll greatly appreciate it. Go hit a like on both those videos. Smash the sub button on this channel if you haven't already. But one thing I want to say off the bat, right? Okay. It's not so much about the result. When I got up on Saturday morning, you'd want to feel excited, nervous, or whatever. Then I see the news on the St Kilda page. They wrote, Tim Membrey is out due to personal reasons. And Anthony Caminiti, who wasn't an emergency, has been approved by the AFL. I got really worried of how St Kilda worded their statement. And I was really stressful. Forget the game was in the background for me, honestly. I was more worried about Tim Membrey. How do I put it? So throughout that post, I'm like, flip. I'm not even worried about the game. I'm just worried about Tim Membrey. We love you, Tim, and hope you're all well, mate. And then is what I didn't see until after the game. I wish I had seen this before the game, but Lenny Hayes did say it's mental health reasons. So we love you, Timmy, and we wish you all the best, mate. We're all here for you. I had a good story I mentioned on my Facebook and Instagram pages about meeting Timmy Membrey. It was in COVID time, before the second wave happened. I think it was the second wave of COVID was happening. The day before, actually, before there was restrictions and everything again. I met Tim on that day in particular. As part of the reason of why I was attending, some of the players were going to come over. And it was only going to be like one or two. And some of the players at that stage were just walking by, whatever. And Tim, the nice guy he is, came over. And I've met Timmy before that, but that they proved to me what a great person he is. He didn't have to stop, but he did. No one else at that stage did. We wish you all the best, Timmy. We love you, mate. Now, let's go through some of the show today. Let's go have a look. So, yeah. So, all right. That's the podcasting there. So, let's look at the graphic there. Look at it there. Sorry. So anyway, right. So now that's a banner I've had done, but also going back. So that So with the Timmy stuff, as I said, the game. Now, when I say the game didn't matter, it's like, Scoops, mate, it's an elimination. But like I said, the result, of course, I wanted us to win. But I was more worried about Tim than I'm worried about the game. So I was kind of sidetracked for the whole game, to be honest. But to be honest, it's hard to speak about, to be honest. But yeah. it was great atmosphere. You've seen at the start of the video there. You've seen yeah, you've seen the video there. It was loud. 68,000 people there, which was great to see. Yeah, it was. Sorry, I'm going to be. Yeah, it's disappointing that we lost the game in the end, but as they always say, there's bigger things in football. We'll get to the game in detail later, but it was disappointing that that's how the season ended. You know, a lot of people wrote us off and proved the doubters wrong throughout the season. You know, spaced the Bulldogs in round 2 by like 57 points. Beat Geelong late in the season to qualify for finals and eliminate them in the process. We beat Richmond, who people rave on about as a top 8 team, even though they weren't that this year, but people raved on about them pre-season. We had some good wins against the Swans, the Giants in the mid part of the year. So there's more as well, but we had some good wins in there. So I'm really proud of how the team went this year. We could have came back, but we're going to get to that in a minute. So also on the show today, we're going to go through the world famous segment, Scoops Goes Bang, on a few topics. I've actually going to add a late one. I hadn't actually written this down, but actually I had the graphic, sorry, not the graphic, the video in my my StreamYard gallery here, and it's just reminded me, so thank you to myself for not deleting it off StreamYard yet. But so Simon Goodwin on Scoops Goes Bang, his ridiculous comments about Brayden Maynard. Oh, that's right. Yeah, about Brayden Maynard. We're going to get to that. And also on Scoops Goes Bang, we're going to talk about the umpires in the St Kilda game in particular, but just umpires in general, not knowing the basic rules. And no, I did not say they cost us the game. They were garbage, but I'll get to why they were terrible soon in Scoops Goes Bang. I'm also going to review the finals just gone and preview the semi-finals. I'm going to go through some trade news and anything else in between. So first off, we'll start off with this. You want me on Cameo? Head to cameo.com/CribberG. Want me to roast a friend? Wish someone happy birthday? Anything at all? Head to cameo.com/CribberG. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Once we hit 3K subscribers, we're doing some prize giveaways, and I'm looking at one of the prizes, and Rick, if we eventually hit that, you'll get a prize, most likely. So, yeah. All right. Oh, it's time for the world famous segment. And you're going to acknowledge me in this segment. It is the world famous segment. Scoops Goes Bang. You will acknowledge me here. I'm about to get angry. Sort of change it up a little bit. All right. The umpire in the St Kilda game. Do the umpires not know the basic fundamentals that have been in the game since they've been alive? Dropping the ball, incorrect disposal, and if the ball's past the boundary line, it's out of bounds. To quote BT, Brian Taylor, that was out of bounds. I think there was like 2 or 3 examples where GWS were clearly out of bounds. One of the Whitfield one I remember very well was clearly out of the boundary line, which then led to a GWS goal in the third quarter, I think it was, or second, whatever. An important part of the game regardless, when St Kilda were coming back. And, not paid. Incorrect disposal. Xavier O'Halloran dropped the freaking ball and then was tackled and it fell out or he threw it out, whatever. So that's incorrect disposal. Not paid. Then off that fumble, drop, throw, holding the ball that wasn't paid. Kelly or someone picked it up, ran, kicked it, goal. It's a disgrace. The umpiring is shit. Every single damn freaking week. 4 umpires hasn't worked. O'Gorman, another game that O'Gorman has umpired in a St Kilda game. And why does he get a gig in a final of all bloody weeks? Right? Why didn't Razor Ray get a gig? He told you why when I interviewed him, but that's not the point. He should be in over people like that. If O'Gorman and those other 3 umpires in that game, in our game, the Saints-Giants game, gets a gig in the semis, prelims, or grand final, I'll be furious. But I'm not going to expect anything less from the AFL. They love handing games to people that don't deliver. It's just like clubs handing games to players that don't deserve it. That's a whole nother argument. I know what holding the ball means and incorrect disposal means. I know what when the ball is out of bounds. Maybe you should know that too. Pathetic. And any momentum we got, which wasn't much, fucking ruined by a shit umpire. When Higo got it to 3 goals start of the last, it was like 2 or 4 minutes in. They made sure to give GWS a bullshit free kick to get them back to 4 goals out, then it was gone. Every little momentum swing we had go our way. At the end of that swing, they'd stuff it up. The umpires, that is. Now, we shouldn't have let GWS get that big lead. That's not the point. The umpiring was shit. Again. Can they stop ruining the game and learn their own freaking basic rules that have been there since they've been in diapers? Seriously, do OPSM still sponsor the AFL? Because maybe they need to go there. The boundary umpires as well. And seems this year that the goal umpires need to go there as well. I'm animated with this because I'm sick of the umpires being shit. Fix it, Andrew Dillon. Pathetic umpires are a joke. And there's not many umpires that have been consistently good this year. There's not many games where I can watch a game and go, yeah, they were good. Umpires and good aren't in my vocabulary and not in many people's vocabularies. There might be odd moments in games where they're all right, but a whole game? Nah. They're seriously bad, and they need to learn the basic fundamentals. If we, the fans, can know the rules, maybe the AFL umpires should know the damn rules themselves. Because, I don't know. They affect the results. Learn the rules! There have been rules, and people can go, but the rules change every year, and blah, blah, blah. These are basic, fundamental rules that these people have, the rule has been there since they've been in diapers. And most of these people will be over 30 years of age. So you get my point. Lift your game. You ruined many games this year. You stuffed the Suns over against Melbourne in Queensland. 8 basic free kicks that I thought were blatant cheating towards Melbourne, that even Jason Dunstall, the chief, was pissed off in 6 of the 8 ones that I made up. I founded. Jace, the chief, fully agreed with 6 of them. That was blatant cheating. There's been games this year where umpires have stuffed other teams over. And moments. The umpires are a joke. Now, Simon Goodwin. He got a 2-year extension lately. Again, why do coaches rush? He's been there a long time. Why need? He's not going to get poached. Not right now, anyway. Here we go. I'm going to let you listen to the Brayden Maynard incident where he's been sent to the tribunal for over 3 weeks. Get to that in a second. But listen to Simon Goodwin talk about this. And keep in mind, Brayden Maynard went to smother Andy Brayshaw. He jumped off the ground, straight up in the air, hands up in the air. And then, because he realised he was there to clash heads with Brayshaw, he turned, twist, and braced for contact. And unfortunately, Brayshaw landed on Maynard's elbow. But here's Simon Goodwin's reaction to this, and it's embarrassing.
What do you make of the incident with Maynard and Brayshaw?
Look, I guess that'll be sorted out during the week, but we've got a pretty shattered player in there. Yeah, look, you can only go by the facts. He jumped off the ground and knocked a guy out. So I guess time will tell.
When you say,
Oh, he's upset. Yeah, he's obviously had a history with concussion a long time ago. So he's obviously dealing with some emotion there. But you know, he wants to play finals footy. He's going to be missing for a few weeks, and yeah, that's disappointing.
Look, we all feel for Angus Brayshaw. We hope he's all good. Why is that worth? It's either none or 3, by the way. It can't really be in between because of how the grading system works. But I feel it should be nothing. It's an accident. It's a football in accident. Maynard, had he not braced for contact how he did, he would have collided head on with him and he probably could have been concussed. He was only saving himself. And some people can argue that Angus Brayshaw got concussed or impacted this knock from a previous knock where he got hit in the gut or he ducked and hurt himself there. That could have impacted. If it wasn't the incident that made it bad, that definitely played a part. So Simon Goodwin, seriously, mate. Maynard didn't intentionally go to clean up Brayshaw. He went to smother and turn because he realised had he kept up, putting his hand up in the air and jumped up in the air, he would have smashed into Brayshaw. So he tried to do the best possible thing. Maynard doesn't deserve to miss 1 game for this. It's been sent to the tribunal. That'll be done tomorrow night. Brayden Maynard deserves 0 weeks. 0. Now, I'll have Melbourne fans talking about this, but quite frankly, put that position, turn that around, and say that's Angus Brayshaw or a Melbourne player doing it to Maynard or any Collingwood player. Would you be saying that, what Simon Goodwin said? You wouldn't hear Craig McRae whinge like Simon Goodwin. So Craig McRae is a great person, and he doesn't make excuses. Lift your game, Simon. Pathetic. All right. Now it's time to go review week 1 of the finals, and yeah, hang on. It's really disappointing. It truly, really is. We have to go through. We have to push through. Started on Thursday night at the MCG. It was Collingwood 60 defeated Melbourne 53. Well, I told you so that Melbourne wouldn't win. And I told you so that Melbourne have played like 1 good quarter for pretty much the last 7 games. And they've lucky to beat North, Hawthorn by a quarter. They beat St Kilda off St Kilda's goal kicking and off a quarter. I lost to Carlton recently. They only beat Melbourne because Brisbane choked a 2-goal lead with like a minute and a half to go. Like Melbourne have been lucky. And they've been exposed. Tom McDonald is in the answer. Ben Royan's now got a week and should get at least 2. Should have got at least 2. But he's got 1. So we'll have to see there how that works. He's in trouble. Melbourne are in trouble in that 4-line. Fritsch missed some shots he would normally get. It's just inexcusable how they play, and then they somehow get away with it for a quarter. Collingwood were the far better team, but Collingwood almost choked. Melbourne had plenty of opportunities actually in that last quarter to actually hit the front. They couldn't capitalise. Like I just said, Fritsch and other players. So they had their chances and they blew it. So they lose. Collingwood have the week off, got a home prelim final against either GWS or Port Adelaide at the MCG on a Friday night. So that'll be huge for the Pies. And 1 step closer to the grand final. For the next game that we're going to go through, so Melbourne will host Carlton Friday night at the MCG. We'll get to that shortly as well. Friday night at the MCG, it was Carlton 74 in elimination final, defeated and eliminated the Swans 68. Swans, well, they had their chances too. It's funny. People were raving about how great the Collingwood Melbourne game was. It wasn't that great. That was St Kilda and GWS. You would have said it was shit. Let's be real. Carlton and Sydney, on the other hand, was good. I enjoyed it. Carlton just got the win. The Swans kept coming and coming and coming. And unfortunately, they had a few chances late. Jack Martin, who also got 2 weeks suspension, who deserved that, by the way, a swinging arm on Nick Blakey, deserves that. And I don't think they've appealed it. So, rightfully so. If they made the grand final, he would be eligible. Look. One thing I want to add, Michael Hibberd is retired for Melbourne at the end of the season. He's currently on 197 games. If Melbourne make it to the granny and he plays every game from now on, he'll play his 200th in the grand final. Well done, Michael, on his career. But yeah, Carlton Sydney, Tommy Hickey, unfortunately, is retired. His last game, the 4 club journeyman ruckman, St Kilda, Gold Coast, West Coast, and the Swans, 151 AFL games. Hickey tried his all. He was the better ruckman on the night over Pitnet and DeConing. But unfortunately for Tommy, it's the end. He had a good career at all those 4 clubs, in particular St Kilda and Sydney. Wish you well, Tommy, in retirement, mate. A very underrated ruckman was Tom Hickey. But yeah, McLean was terrific, didn't he, guys? He kicked like 3 goals, like 12 marks. He was awesome, and like 11 hit outs as a backup ruckman. He was terrific. He was the Swans' best player for Carlton. Well, Curnow was well held by Rampy and Malikan and co. Unfortunately for the Swans, their season's over. The former grand finalists from last season are out. Next game. St Kilda, GWS. St Kilda 77 are defeated and eliminated by the Giants 101. Cooper Sharman got the first goal and it was like, here we go. Then Toby Green out the back got a goal off a lucky tap off one of the players and it fell towards him. Hit the goal and Ryan Marshall kicked the next. And like, here we go. Then GWS got the next one through. I think it was Daniel Lloyd. And then back to 2 goals each. And it's like, and then after that, from that first 5-10 minutes, GWS shot out to about 40 points up at half time from midway through the first, and it was really bad. And then to our credit, Brad Hill and the sideway and Lero in the third quarter, on the verge of 3 quarters in the last 45 seconds, both hit goals to get to 24 points at 3 quarter time. And Jack Higgins hit the first goal in 2 to 4 minutes into the last quarter to make it 18 points. And then as I said earlier, the umpires fucked it up. They shit the bed and gave GWS a much important goal and was almost impossible to get from there. Disappointing out of the season. And I thought Jack Steele was tremendous, the skipper, 37 disposals. Rowan Marshall was terrific in the ruck. Briggs, I thought, was good as well. They both had their moments where they were both really dominant and got ahead of their opponent. Briggs is a strong physical ruckman, and Mitch Owens shouldn't have been in the ruck against him. They should have tried something different. They subbed off Hammer, Anthony Caminetti at halftime, so that's why Owens went back as the backup ruck. I think Marshall needs to if there's any negative, I think Marshall needs to play in the ruck a bit more frequently, like in game time. When you're saying that, that's why Tommy Campbell is there, Ross. Didn't play him all year. But it was disappointing. King kicked 3 on Sam Taylor. Did all right. Missed an easy shot in the second quarter, I think it was, which was disappointing, but it's not his fault. I think the midfield, the defenders probably played one of their worst games collectively of the year, along with the mids, to be fair. The ball was just getting in there and they were running out around 50, kicking goals on the boundary from 50 out on the run. The defenders weren't manning up. Ross, why do we never have a forward line? It happened in the women's game, it happens in the VFL. You kick it forward in the 50 and there's no one there. Or if there is, it's about 3-on-1 in around 50 metres out. Why can't there always be a play in the goal square, Ross? Freaking do it. King's a giant. I think Sam Taylor would be more worried about being 1-on-1 with King in the goal square than about 60, 60 metres out. That's something I feel that he needed to change throughout the season, and he didn't. Just disappointing. Now, Brisbane, 123, smashed the Power 75. Paul were actually in front in the second quarter, but then there was a few bursts. Brisbane got like 3 goals in a row on the verge of 3-quarter time, and during the second quarter, the last quarter, it's just like, how disappointing could you be if you're a Port fan? Goal kicking early was a problem. Lai said, Todd Marshall missed some goals early. Ollie Lord. Oh, Lord. What a performance from Ollie Lord on Harris Andrews and Jack Payne. 4 goals, 1. I thought he was terrific. Butters was okay. Butters got fined for dumping Dane Zorka. I think that's about right. At Brisbane, they were terrific. Lockie Neal was well held, though, by Willem Drew. But the Power get a second chance this week against the Giants. Let's now go straight into doing that. Let's go preview week two of the finals. There's 2 games this week, as I said. Collingwood and Brisbane have the week off. Brisbane will host the winner of Carlton and Melbourne at the Gabba. And Collingwood will host the winner of Port Adelaide and GWS, and obviously both losers will be out. So we're going to start off Friday night at the MCG. It's Melbourne hosting Carlton, 7:50 Victorian time. I'm going to be tipping Carlton in this one. They only just beat them not too long ago. Probably lucky because of the Petrarca rubbish that wasn't given a goal for the stupid score review. Anyway, another an error they made, which we went into detail at that stage. I think Carlton, if they can be consistent, if Curnow can play a 4-quarter performance, been terrific this year, but I feel in patches. Curnow's had a huge burst in 10, 15 minutes or a quarter, kicking 3 goals, and then you don't see him really for the rest of the game. So he's just got to fix that consistency a little bit if there's any negative of Charlie Curnow, the Coleman winner back-to-back seasons. But yeah, he needs to fix that, but I'll be tipping Carlton by 10 points here. And then on Saturday night, 7:40 Victorian time, 7:10 South Australian time, it is the Power hosting the Giants. I'm actually going to be tipping the Giants here. I really, really am. Beware the Giants. Been saying it all damn freaking year. 2 bad games this year. Early in the year against Collingwood at the MCG, who they coincidentally would be playing next week if they win this one. And their other bad game for the season was coincidentally against who they played this week at the same venue, Port Adelaide, only about 3 games ago. They lost by like 45 points. So different Giants effort, more pressure on the Power after just losing. Dylan Williams got a hammy. We don't know if he'll miss or not just yet as of this recording. Trent McKenzie, the cannon, went off sore in the last quarter and late in the third. Will he be okay? Travis Boak, will he get back into the team? I think he will now. Will Charlie Dixon come back? It's another question Port fans will be pondering and hoping that Charlie's back. Who for? No, that's a question. It's not going to be Ollie Lord. He just kicked 4. It's an interesting one to keep an eye out on, but I'm going to be tipping the Giants by 20 points. I really rate the Giants, and again, the dark horse is no longer the dark horse. I mean business. And they're in the 8. And now, I'm going to tell you right now, my premiership tip as of right now is Collingwood, and my other option is the Giants. So in other words, if Cheetos beat Collingwood, the winner of that prelim wins the granny for me, even over Brisbane, Melbourne, or Carlton. So I'll be tipping the Giants by 20 points. All right, now it's time to go through some trade news. Liam Henry has nominated the Saints during the final before the game, an hour or 2 before the game. Liam Henry picks St Kilda, and how do I feel about this one? I mean, he was linked to St Kilda and Hawthorn heavily. St Kilda the most. I kept saying that to everyone, and I kept getting ridiculed. Oh, Hawthorn's the favourite. Cal Toomey said so. Wrong. I was right. I'm telling the entire time we've been the favourite for him. You can all acknowledge me down below. How do I feel about this move? Okay about it. Is Sam Flanders-esque form late in the year? Sammy Flanders in the last 9 or 10 games averaged 29 disposals. Henry hasn't done that exactly. His last 2 weeks were quiet, but the 6-day weeks in a row before that, before averaging about 23 disposals on the wing. So he had some good form. It might have even been more than 23 disposals, but he was good in those 6 to 8 weeks. I feel he's worth a pick only around 30 at best. I know a lot of people say he's worth a late first, early second, which that's just ridiculous. He's not worth any first rounder. St Kilda got picked 12 and 31, I think it is. 31's about fair. That's completely fair. That's in fact that's overs. But 31 is around the mark, so take it and run, Freo. That's all you deserve. He's not worth more than that. Peter Bell thinks he is. Well, he's not. Ben Mackay, still got interest. This is the one that's the most open. Sydney, Hawthorn, Essendon been linked to him. I can't quite get a read on where Essendon are in the Ben Mackay race. I feel Sydney's the favourite, then it's Hawthorn. And then North, then he's out of North. And Hawthorn, Essendon, I'm like, I don't know where they are, how interested they are, how in depth, how close they are, where they ranked amongst who's the next best chance to get him. It's a really interesting one, honestly. It truly is. But yeah, I feel like Ben Mackay will go to the Hawks. I really do. I mean, the Swans. I really do. The Swans. Sorry, Hawks fans. Brodie Grundy, been reported by multiple reports that Sydney are now the favourite for Brodie Grundy. I still think it might be Port, but Sydney are definitely up there as well. It's Port or Sydney. It's not Geelong, thank Christ. It's none of them. As of right now, it's none of them. So Port, Sydney, I have Port slightly ahead. He's met with Port not too long ago. He's meeting Sydney. I'm assuming he's keeping all his options open and seeing what they'll offer him and money and whatnot. Living arrangements, I don't know. But Brodie Grundy will leave the Demons, and he should never have gone there in the first place, which is his fault and his manager's fault for wanting to go there. It was never going to work. And Max Gorlins treated him like crap. If you've seen in that documentary, he said they promised how they'll work together, and that was all full of shit. Jay Gresham, Saints free agent, apparently at his exit meeting today. The club want him to stay, but there's no offer on the table. So I find that very interesting. From what I hear, he's still more likely gone. But this is not as obvious as it was a month ago, put it that way. The clubs that were interested were Carlton. They cooled off a little bit. They still are interested. Apparently, Essendon and Richmond in the link. I haven't really heard that. I've heard more just Carlton and maybe a little teeny bit of Essendon. I haven't heard Richmond at all. But he'd be a perfect fit for Richmond as well, and Essendon for that matter. But I'd love to keep Gresh at the Saints. Underrated as that different style of pace in the midfield that we desperately need and are targeting. So when he does play this, just keep him, Saints. Jack Silvani, now more likely to stay. A bit of a surprise there. Brandon Thatcher, likely to join Adelaide from Essendon. Surprised he hasn't made his decision yet. Sava Radaglia, officially nominated at Adelaide last week. I know some Port fans that are happy about that. I wouldn't be. I think that's a terrible move for Adelaide. But he's going to join there. If he rejected a Hawthorn 7-year deal, I would cringe to know what Port Adelaide have offered him. If Port have offered 5, I would understand why he's taken that. Because Port are way better than Hawthorn, right? But if it's anything 4 or less, that's a big gap and a big risk money-wise. Maybe he just wants a better club. But I would question Jason Cripps' list management and Hawthorn's list management crew, Mark McKenzie and co, for trying to offer a Sava Radaglia long-term deals, because that's pretty bad, if you ask me. Jordan Sweet, the name I want to throw on the ranks. Bulldogs fringe ruckman, dominating the twos for the last 2 or 3 years. Can't get a game behind Tim English. West Coast have been interested for a few years. Apparently some Victorian clubs have shown interest. I haven't really heard any clubs in particular yet, West Coast. So we'll have to wait and see there. And 2 Saints I want to finish with, Nick Caulfield and Hunter Clark. Cough has got some interest from Brisbane. Injury prone this season, been in the twos last 6 weeks. Halfback, intercept defender. St Kilda got about 14 guys out of contract. I think Hunter Clark and Nick Caulfield are probably 2 that go out. And Hunter Clark had interest in North Melbourne last year, and I expect them to show that interest again. So that wraps up the trade talk. So my final thoughts are simply this. You want me on Cameo, head to cameo.com/cribbage. You want me to roast a friend, wish someone happy birthday, anything at all, cameo.com/cribbage. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Please like this video if you haven't already. The AFLW show tomorrow night at 7 p.m. If you want to see me do any more interviews or goal kicking challenges with AFL players, AFLW players, VFLW players, upcoming draftees in the AFL or AFLW competitions, please message me on Instagram, AFL Info Live, and we'll try and tease some of those interviews and goal kicking challenges up. I'd love to do more. Potentially may have one later this week, so stay tuned for that. Can't tell you who yet. There's a teaser for you. Thank you all for watching. Till the next video, tomorrow night, the AFLW show at 7 p.m. The most important thing of all to remember is go the Saints. And, of course, acknowledge me, they'll won. Come on, Saints. Next year, Saints 2024 in the 8. And hopefully a premiership. Go Saints.